Today we are going to assemble a Blue Ridge 6-drawer dresser. First step is to identify the parts. So I've located the face frame right here, got the back to the dresser right here, got my two sides right here. We're gonna work on the back first. We're gonna do some drawer mount strips. The reason for the strips is because we're gonna mount the drawer slides into the back of the dresser. And if you look at this, it's only 1/4 inch thick. So screws are going to go through this 1/4 inch unless we add additional thickness. So that's the purpose of the drawer mount strips. And to know the length of those drawer mount strips, I need to take a measurement from here to about halfway up this upper opening, which I happen to know is about 22 inches. Cut them to 22 inches. So I cut two 3-inch strips, and they're going to go roughly on the outsides to catch the drawer slides that are on the outsides of the box. And then I cut a 6-inch drawer mount strip that I'm going to center that's going to catch the two middle drawer slides. So the first step is to go ahead and glue these up, and I'm just going to run a bead of glue up and down them. And I'm going to attach them to the back with 1/2-inch staples. I have a little spacer here that's gonna put me away from the side and up from the bottom 1.5 inches. And this will make sense later why we're doing that. So we write the customer name and the product name on the corner of the back. You can see it says BR60D, customer is 6. And so I want that side to be face up. That's gonna be the outside. So I'm going to take my 1/4 inch back. I've got my spacer here and my drawer mount strip. And I'm going to lay this back flush with the bottom and the side and just set it on top of it there. And then I'm going to go ahead and staple this. I'm going to do the same thing to the opposite side with the other 3-inch strip. Lay it in place, set it over the top, flush it up with the bottom and the side. Now we got to place the middle strip in place, and I need to find the center of the back. It's another option to this 1/4 inch back is if we did use a 1/2 inch back or a 3/4, then we wouldn't need to go through these steps. But this is a pretty economical product, and it works quite well. We also use it for drawer bottoms. So there's a few reasons why we prefer to use this product. I'm gonna find the center of my back. So I'm putting my spacer down below that strip, and I've got my center line, and I'm just eyeballing center, and I'm gonna just drop it flush. And then I'm guesstimating where that piece is. It's shot well. Now I'm gonna go ahead and put a cleat on the upper edge of this back piece. And that'll be a way we can mount the box to the top when it's time to do that. Once again, I'm gonna take a measurement on this, which I know happens to be 54 inches, and I'm gonna cut my cleat 4 inches less than that. Go ahead and put a bead of glue on it, and then staple it in with 3/4 staples. So I've gotta change out my staple size, or my staple length, and I'm gonna set that back over the top of that cleat, and just eyeball my left to right center, and I want to make sure I'm flush with the top. So I'm going to start on the right side, and then I'm going to move the cleat so it remains flush or just slightly below the top of the back. So now the back is finished for now. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and put cleats on the inside of our face frame. We're going to run a top cleat along the top edge of the face frame. Once again, I'm going to take a measurement, which I happen to know it's 54 inches, same as the back. So I'm going to need another 50-inch cleat. Anytime we attach a cleat, I'm always using glue. Want to glue and staple or screw it. So this time we need 1.5 inch staple. We need to change out our staples. Again, I'm going to center my cleat from left to right and flush it up with the top and work actually from right to left in this case. So now we're gonna go ahead and cleat the sides. So I gotta take a good look at them and make sure I can tell what is the finished side and what is the unfinished side. We're gonna put our cleat on the unfinished side. I'm gonna take a measurement. This is 18 inches. So we wanna do a 14-inch cleat. If we did a Kodiak style dresser, which has an 1.5 inch base around the bottom of the perimeter of the top, we'd also do a cleat on the bottom, but this Blue Ridge style does not have that, so we're just gonna do a cleat on the top edge. So once again, I'm gonna center it left to right, and I'm gonna put my thumb kind of on the edge of the side there and up against the cleat to make sure that I stay flush or just inside a flush. Okay, so now we're finished cleating. So now we're actually gonna take the face frame and the sides and attach them to each other. So I'm gonna put a bead of glue on the edge of the stile where that side is gonna butt into. So I'm gonna stand up my face frame. I'm flushing up the top edge of the face and the sides, and I've got my thumb on the side of it, and making sure that's flush as well. I'm gonna put one staple in and just double check, we're good. Then I'm gonna work my way down that side with staples every 4 to 6 inches. And once again, these are 1.5 inch long staples. It's critical that we flush up from the top, because when that top sits on our box, we wanna make sure it's nice and tight. So the next step is I'm going to put a bead of glue on the edges of the sides, and we're going to drop our back on. And for this, I don't need an 1.5 inch long staple. I'm going to go back to the 3/4. That's plenty long because the back is just 1/4 inch thick. So there is a top and a bottom to this back. Top, of course, is where the cleat is. So I gotta put the cleat facing towards me and on the same side as the other cleats for the side and the face frame. I'm gonna set it here on the sides and go ahead and start in one corner and flush it up. Then I'm gonna work my way down to the bottom, make sure it's flush. And every 4 to 6 inches, go ahead and add the staples. Same thing, other corner, make sure it's flush. So our back is on, sides are on, face is on. We've got our basic box. So we're gonna run our 1.5 inch cleat first, because we gotta firm up this bottom. It's a little flimsy. If somebody were to pick this up with a dolly, this 1/4 inch wouldn't do well with that dolly. 1.5 inch cleat. I'm gonna run this cleat along the back here to provide additional support to the dresser. I'm just gonna mark it by putting it in place. I'm gonna attach it the same way we've been attaching all the other cleats, a bead of glue and 3/4 staples. Okay, so next, we're gonna take our support strips, we're gonna place them right here. And I'm gonna cut them to length, and then we're gonna pocket screw them, one up, 2 on the sides, and 1 down. And what it's gonna do, it's gonna just firm up the box a little bit. So that's the purpose of these. I'm gonna measure my length by just setting them in place and making a mark. They should all be the same length, so I'm gonna cut them all to the same length. I'm also putting one in the center as well. So like I mentioned, we're gonna cut 2 pockets on the ends and 2 on the sides. Okay, so these 2 will be for the outside corners. You can see the pattern of the pocket screws. For the middle support, I'm just gonna put 2 on the ends, like so. We're gonna attach our support strips with 1 1/4 square drive screws. I'm gonna start in the corner. those are the corners. Now I'm gonna go ahead and attach this center support strip. The face frame mullion tells me where the center is, so I'm just gonna match it up with that. Use 1 1/4 screws. Support strips are done. Now we're ready to attach the box to the top. Since our top is already finished and sanded, it's got a coat of finish on it, I'm gonna lay a blanket down on the bench top so we protect that top. We went and got our top for our dresser, and now we're ready to throw the box with the dresser up on top of the top, and we're gonna attach the two together. Okay, so now I'm just gonna center the dresser from left to right and flush it up with the back of the top. I've got a little spacer here to save me a little time. It's a 2-inch spacer. That's what my overhang should be on each side. Got my dresser box placed where it needs to be over the top. So now I'm going to attach it with 1 5/8 wood screws. I'll put 3 in the back, 3 in the front, and then 2 on each of the sides. I always do the back first because I want to make sure my back lines up nice and flush with the back of the top, so I'm going to check that out. So with my left hand, I'm going to screw it in. With my right hand, I'm just kind of feeling for where it is, where it needs to be flush, and I'm going to pull it in as I screw it down. And then I'll double check it. So that looks good. Now I'm going to go along and do the left front corner. I want to make sure the side of the dresser is parallel with the top. Okay, so now my top isn't going anywhere. So now I can just go around and add the rest of the screws. Now my top is attached to the box. I'm just going to take a quick look and see where the top and the box meet each other and make sure it looks like I've got a nice tight fit. So next step. So now we're going to put up the corner trim. So I'm going to place the trim in the corners and make sure that they're going to work where I want to put them. I got to make sure I got at least a 3/4 inch distance from the inside of the face to the trim so the drawer fronts will close because they're a 1/2 inch overlay. This one looks fine, and this one looks fine, and the backs are a non-issue. So now we can go ahead and screw the trim to the box. I'm going to use those same 1 5/8 screws, and I'm going to go with 3 screws per trim piece. So over here on the right side, I'm holding the drill, as you can see, with my left hand, and I've got my right hand, I'm holding the trim piece. And I'm making sure that it's flush with the back of the dresser as I screw it in. And in the front corners, I'm going to put my screw at a 45-degree angle to the corner to try to pull that corner in on both sides equally. You can just watch that corner be pulled in against the face frame. Do the same for the left side. Okay, so last step, we're putting these little tack feet on top of the trim pieces here. Just tap them in. It's just to kind of protect the piece as we slide it around in the back room when we do the finishing. There we go. There's our dresser. Drawers made and drawers installed, and then it'll be done.